Most people assume that wanting something badly enough is the first step to getting it, but simply wishing for an outcome, no matter how intensely, is entirely insufficient for material achievement. Desire on its own remains abstract. It has no physical power until it is paired with a specific psychological catalyst. In this framework, that catalyst is called faith. We have to strip that word of its usual context. This version of faith carries absolutely no religious dogma or mystical connotation. Instead, it is an active, deliberately engineered cognitive state. It is a mechanical tool that you must manufacture. Understanding faith as a mechanical input turns self-improvement away from wishful thinking and into a rigorous, structured protocol. This flowchart models the mind as a cybernetic system with three components: conscious input, subconscious processor, and physical translation output. This translation protocol dictates that the subconscious acts as a converter, turning abstract thoughts into physical realities. The author of this framework, Napoleon Hill, established this blueprint in his 1937 text, Think and Grow Rich. We are going to deconstruct the specific cognitive architecture laid out in Chapter 3 of that book to reveal exactly how thoughts are materialized. If the mind operates as a strict input-output system, mastering the input layer is the only variable you actually control. The system begins at the first phase, the input layer. The text asserts that conscious thoughts, on their own, are completely inert. They cannot change reality. There is a rigid rule at play here. Thoughts must be blended with high-valence emotions before they can successfully activate the subconscious mind. Hill identifies the major positive emotions that act as necessary chemical catalysts for this blend, primarily faith, love, and sex. Emotion acts as a carrier wave, providing the frequency required to allow the raw data of a thought to breach the subconscious barrier. Without that carrier wave, the subconscious will outright reject or ignore purely rational, intellectual thoughts. Raw intelligence is useless in this system unless deliberately encoded with a strong emotional frequency. This introduces an inherent paradox. How can a user input the emotion of faith if they are currently filled with doubt? The engineering solution to this paradox is a mechanism called autosuggestion. The core rule of autosuggestion is that any idea or emotion can be artificially implanted in the mind through systematic, deliberate repetition. Step 1 requires demanding persistent physical action toward your goal. Step 2 dictates 30 minutes of concentrated thought to picture the intended outcome. Step 3 adds 10 minutes explicitly demanding the development of self-confidence. Executing these steps creates a dominant subconscious habit, overriding any previous programming. Faith is never bestowed by luck. It is a synthetic habit manufactured through a strict daily cognitive programming routine. The text offers a profound historical proof of concept to validate the power of this cognitive architecture, operating on a massive industrial scale. The central figure of this case study is Charles M. Schwab, who formulated a seemingly impossible idea to consolidate the entire steel industry. To achieve this, he needed to influence immense power structures, starting with Andrew Carnegie. He also required financial backing from J.P. Morgan to make the vision physical. Schwab backed his vision with a deeply emotionalized plan and absolute manufactured belief. This intense, sustained faith transferred his plan directly into his subconscious mind. The subconscious then orchestrated the exact physical actions and speeches Schwab needed to persuade them. The result was the physical manifestation of the United States Steel Corporation. Hill notes that this specific application of the formula created a $600 million reality, born strictly from a single programmed thought. Hill frames this success as the flawless execution of the autosuggestion protocol. Corporate empires and personal fortunes are the final physical outputs of a correctly executed cognitive input. There is a critical danger embedded in this framework regarding the absolute impartiality of the subconscious processor. The subconscious does not distinguish between constructive and destructive emotional inputs. It simply executes whatever signal is dominant. Fear, exactly like faith, is a high-valence emotion. It acts as an equally powerful carrier wave for negative thoughts. The text uses a historical counterexample, the mass societal realization of poverty consciousness following the 1929 Wall Street crash. Collective emotionalized fear translates directly into physical economic depressions and material ruin. The subconscious mind translates poverty consciousness into reality just as quickly, accurately, and ruthlessly as money consciousness. Because the subconscious is always running, failing to deliberately program faith guarantees the accidental programming of fear. Faith is the singular starting point of all accumulation because it is the only switch that activates the subconscious engine. This activation requires the deliberate blending of thought with positive emotion and relentless repetition. While the subconscious handles the execution, the individual holds total autonomous authority over the input layer of their own mind. This leads to the final axiom. Human beings are the masters of their earthly destiny because they possess this control over their cognitive inputs. Your material reality is the physical echo of your most dominant, emotionalized thoughts.